Hi everyone, it's Jonny Khatru, and today we're listening to the highly anticipated second album from Black Midi, just released a day earlier than scheduled, Cavalcade. So far this year, from the new wave of British prog-punk bands, we've had, for the first time, from Black Country New Road, we've had Bright Green Field by Squid, for which you can watch my first listen and rating and review videos. Now we've got Cavalcade by Black Midi. And I don't think I'm the only one that's been most excited for this album in particular. Black Midi released their debut album 𝐒𝐻𝐚𝐳 a couple years ago now, and I loved it to bits. It got huge critical acclaim. I gave it a 4.0, and I know it's very high rated over on RateYourMusic. And ever since then, we've all been looking forward to whatever Black Midi's going to do next. And the first taste of that we got was the single John 50 a few weeks ago, which showed us that Black Midi were aiming for something a bit different this time. The straight up jazz fusion riffs and instrumentation reminded me straight away of 70s King Crimson and other great 70s avant-garde prog bands, but they still seem to be bringing with them the high energy and tension that their post-punk work has been known for so far. The ritualistic music video helped as well, just as wild as the music itself. Reminding me of something like the movie *𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐵 with its pagan imagery and everyone losing their minds. The singles that followed only fanned the flames of excitement for me and everyone else that was looking forward to this album. It seems like Black Midi are throwing out all notions of being a humble punk band and going all out with batshit crazy, losing your mind in front of a group of commuters, prog rock. Not so long ago, such a thing would have been considered unthinkably uncool, I think. It wasn't so long ago I remember seeing Pitchfork giving 1 out of 10s to early Mars Volta albums. But here we are. Musically throwing your shit at the wall seems to be back in fashion, and I'm all up for it. So I can't wait to hear the album. In this video I'll be giving it my very first listen and giving you my immediate first reaction and thoughts. And then at a later date, I'll do a follow-up video with my final review and rating. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And let's get into the album now. The first song is the first single, John 50. John 50, or John L. What a way to start an album. Their intent to fuck you up is clear from the start. I love the way the guitars are playing such intricate riffs, all perfectly in time, while the piano and sound effects are just making all this chaos all around it. When I first heard the single, I loved it. I was blown away by the music, but the vocals I wasn't too sure about at first, but they've grown on me so much. They just match the demented sound of the music so well, seeming so hellish, but also so controlled, just like the composition of the song itself. It's just brilliant. Now, we're gonna hear our first new song. Track 2 is called Marlene Dietrich.
Under soft lights with a take-back face.
Wow, that was beautiful. And I heard in the lyrics it's actually pronounced Marlene Dietrich, not Dietrich. The John 50 single came with a B-side called Despair, and this song was in a similar style of theatrical ballad like that. In both cases, the vocals remind me of the vocals of a band called Wild Beasts, whereas it's like this very theatrical, lots of vibrato, but the melody comes across really strong. And I like it. It works really well. I think they did a great job with it, and it suits the music that they made in this track. This was a much more engaging song to me than Despair. Some really nice drumming on top with layers of thick sounds and strings all over it, and just really gorgeous at times. Quite unexpected, actually. I suppose I was only anticipating the jazz fusion madness of this album, so that was quite a nice surprise to hear something so lush. Next up, track 3 is the recently released third single, which is called Chondromalacia Patella, or Chondromalacia Patella. Who knows? Here we go. What an ending. Okay, so as I said, that was the third single that they released, so I've heard it a couple times, but probably of all the songs we've heard, it's the one that's slightly less memorable, but it's still very hard hitting, exciting, so much going on in it, some incredible drumming and changes throughout the song. What's not to love? I do really like the fast, intricate riffing towards the end, right before the descending synth that ends the song. The next song was the second single, which was called Slow. The single had in brackets loud, I think. This version only says slow, so I'm wondering what that's going to mean. Is it different in some way from the single version? Let's find out. So that was Slow. I couldn't really tell if there was any difference from the single version, but in any case, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I love the strange atmosphere in that song. The vocals being performed by, I think, the bassist in the band gives a really nice change, and the jazzy chord changes all throughout. Lovely stuff. Despite being probably less melodic than the last couple songs, I actually find this one more memorable. The parts just seem to work so well and flow into each other so nicely. You know, you end up anticipating each section as it's going to come. I was remembering their performance of this song on the 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐴 show, which was amazing. That was where the song really came to life for me. And in the context of the album, I loved it. Now on to another new song. Track 5 is called Diamond Stuff. So that was Diamond Stuff. The first half was pretty cool, but I did start wondering where is this going about 3 minutes in. And then the song just opened up into this Pharoah Sanders sounding soundscape, which I really liked. And then, you know, into the next parts, it had these nice jazzy sections, which, you know, I enjoyed, but I suppose I would have liked there to be some kind of lead line or melody over the top of it all. But still sounded really nice. The next song is called Dethroned. I think I recognize that title from the 𝐾𝐸XP show, but let's find out. Oof. The level of chaos that they took things to towards the end of that song Dethroned was very satisfying. I feel like I've been wanting them to do that so far. I was really noticing how huge the vocals sound on that song as well. It sounds like there's a lot of delay and maybe double tracking on them. Makes them sound huge. And even in all that noise, you could still hear the vocals like echoing all around the noise. I really like this new sound that Black Midi has, where they're, you know, it's all this really noisy jazz influenced playing with that kind of crooned vocal echoing all around it. Yeah, that works really well for me. Also, there was a tonal melody around the 3-minute point that reminded me of Gentle Giant, which I liked very much. So yeah, that was a really cool track. The next song it flows into, and it's called Hogwash and Balderdash. Holy shit. If I thought the last song sounded like Gentle Giant, that one was a whole other level. It had the classical influenced intricacy that band has, but obviously with a whole different kind of intensity and noise. What a shame that song only is 2 minutes 30, but I suppose when you're packing the ideas in so tight, that's what you end up with. And, you know, it's really flowing in from one song to the next at this point, so it's starting to feel like it's almost like one big piece. And yeah, wow, can't wait to hear what's about to happen next. The last song, track 8, is called Ascending Forth.
Every
This song is 10 minutes long, so who knows where it's gonna go from here. Wow. Grand, isn't it? That was spectacular. They tricked me with the introduction. It seemed like the noise was going to continue from the last track, but then it just suddenly went quickly into this acoustic beauty of the intro of this song. But my goodness, there was so much going on in that song. It was a 10-minute epic in the style of a early Genesis song. Very little repetition, just moving from one intricate part of beauty to the next. But so many memorable parts. I know it's going to grow on me, this one. It built to a really passionate, beautiful ending that sounded like the end of a fucking symphony or something. Yeah, incredible. Loved it. So on first listen to the album, I'm very happy with it, as I'm sure you can tell. I was just a little concerned from the style of the album cover and some of the chaos in the singles that the album was maybe going to be too much out of control and maybe not be too memorable. But I don't think that was the case. Every song had something different to offer. They had these kind of few styles, like the more chaotic with spoken word style of John L. returned in Hogwash and Balderdash. And, you know, the songs like Marlene Dietrich and was it Diamond Stuff had more moments of beauty. And of course, Ascending Forth had a bit of everything, which made it all tie together by the end. So I am really satisfied with the album. I'm looking forward to listening to it again already. And I'm quite confident that it's probably going to be well received by everyone who was looking forward to this album. They really delivered the goods. So let's go take a look at what people are saying over on Rate Your Music. Here we are on the Rate Your Music page for Cavalcade, and wow, it's got a 4.10 from 2,300 ratings, which puts it at number 2 for 2021 at the moment. 553 top rated album of all time as it currently stands. Not bad at all. The genre is listed as avant prog. That seems about right. I think it should share that genre with something like Starless and Bible Black by King Crimson. That's an album that really came to my mind in terms of its controlled chaos. If we go down to the track ratings, we can see that every single track has a bold rating at the moment, so no one's feeling anything is particularly weak. But we can see the top rated tracks are John L. and Slow, and Dethroned and Ascending Forth, also extremely high rated. So I'm not wrong. It seems everyone is receiving the album as well as I did so far. Now we're going to take a look at some comments. I can see there are almost 3,000 comments already. So like with the Squid album, we won't be reading all of them by any means. It looks like people have been commenting and posting reviews of the album literally since it was released, all through the night, presumably all around the world. Someone said, "Okay, computer 2." Okay. Someone else said, "King Crimson for Zoomers." Yeah, you could make that argument. Absolutely. Wow, did Greep take singing lessons? Very nice, said Here Dunter. Yeah, I agree. He's definitely stepped it up a notch. Daydream Con said, if this becomes the Casey wannabe album, like Black Country New Road being the Slint wannabe became, I might just become the Joker. I know what he means. I mean, it's frustrating when people only compare to one thing. But the fact is that I think the influence of King Crimson on this album is very obvious. But I don't think that's anything to be embarrassed about or ashamed of. It's not like there's a lot of bands that can cite King Crimson as a primary influence these days. So it should be a badge of honor, if anything. But then Jambi said, everyone who will say this is King Crimson wannabe is delusional. They sound nothing alike. It seems to me like you're the one who's delusional, mate. And I say this as a King Crimson fan. 𝐿𝐶𝐲_Monty117 said there are definitely similarities to King Crimson throughout, but yeah, calling them wannabe band is just wrong. Yeah, I suppose I can agree with that. It's not about them being wannabe. It's just about taking those sounds from old progressive music and incorporating it into their new sound, which I think they did a great job of. Chaotic Ataraxi said they surely are not wannabes, but there are definitely some resemblances that many others also pointed out. Exactly. Barris from TWT said, "You can't like this album because other bands have similar music." Yeah. Nico Keegan said, "Motherfuckers believe in music happens in a vacuum without reference to previous shit." Yeah, I mean, it's just silly to think that. And when people are pointing out the similarities in this music to rock in opposition bands, jazz fusion stuff, and early 70s prog rock, it shouldn't be surprising because they're aiming for something similar that a lot of those artists were also aiming for. It doesn't mean they come out with exactly the same results, but they have similar goals in the intensity, in the composition. You can just hear it. And why shouldn't we enjoy it for that? It is quite strange how there seems to be an argument going on about a band taking influence from an old band is bad versus a band took influence from an old band I like, that's good. I don't think it's bad or good either way though, is it? It's just if they use those sounds in their music and it works and it makes for good new music, then I don't see any problem. It's just fun to point out the similarities or the influences in any new music you hear. It just seems like some people are maybe a bit sensitive to music they're enjoying being compared to something that's been done before, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that. You can still enjoy it. Don't worry. Anyway, I'm very glad to see everyone so passionately enjoying the album, arguing about the album. That's also great. I loved the album. I'm looking forward to listening to it a few more times and sometime in the future giving you my final rating. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you think of the album and how you feel about the discussion going on around it all. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. And until next time, take it easy.